Hello and welcome to this What's New session. My name is Rasmus Wolf Jensen and the topic of today is B1 Usability Package 3.9.1.0, where we're looking into the most important features. This release is only a minor release of Usability Package after last month's major release of 3.9. So let's go into it. First thing we have is on B1 Printer Delivery that now have the new on-the-fly printer selection. So the new is that in the report action for printers, you now have a checkbox say use printer dialog that will disable the above settings. So what happens is if you check this and you use a print action, you will, instead of just printing to the printer indicated on the configuration, or in this case if I had no printer, the default printer, it will instead come up and say what printer do we want to print it to and how many copies. And that will then be used. One note here is that if you use the document printing facility and you print out multiple documents, you will only be asked once of what printers you want to use during that batch. Next we have, again for B1 Printer Delivery, 4 additional email categories. So in the past, under the contact person, you could have one email category, so you could put in accountant, for example. Now, in the new version, you have up to 5 categories in total, adding 4 additional. Scenarios for using those would be, for example, if you had a contact person that was in accounting, but was also a manager of the company. So, and you had some rules saying that every orders and invoices should go to accounting, but all credit notes should go to manager. And there you had the problem with only one email category, because you could only set that the contact person was in either accounting or manager. Now you can say that they are both in accounting and manager, or up to 5 as mentioned. So you can make advanced email rules as you go along. So you could send to the same person. One thing to mention is that if multiple categories fits what is about to be sent, it will automatically just send one email per contact person, of course. Next new feature is for the B1 Document Manager, where we now have a default configuration. And it's quite simple. We just have a new small configuration where you can say what are the defaults for the different checkboxes in attach and say search documents. So as default, what we have set in is that you always create a copy when attaching a new document, but if you want to have it that is not a copy, you can just deactivate it once and it will start up without the check mark. The same for the search, if you want to default certain files or not default certain files, and default certain sub and not default certain sub. So it's just go in and set it up. If you don't, if you're already running the product and you don't want anything changed, it will automatically be what was before in 3.9. Only if you want to change it, you need to go to the default config. Final new feature is in Universal Functions macros, where you can now use the store system across multiple macros. It's more to deal with that you have multiple macros running on different events, but in essence it will just simply store what you store in these values until you either terminate usability package or you override it by running the same macro or another macro saving it to the same store. So in this case I've just made 2 configurations, macro 1 and macro 2 here, and macro 1 is the one storing it into store 1, and if I had another macro running afterwards, I could essentially have it just transfer from store 1 without ever setting anything in store 1, and it will still remember what happened from the first macro. So a rare use case scenario, but we now have the option to do it if you wish to. So this was what we had of new features for this release. If you want to download it, you can go to boyum-it.com/SPO, where you can find this and other releases, and you will also find the full version history of what else have happened in this minor release. Thank you for attending. To conclude this session, for training material, please go to service.boyum-it.com/education, or if you want a free demo of the product, go to license.boyum-it.com/B1UP. If you want to contact us, you can do it either by our sales email or our support email. Thank you for attending.